So I tried to watch the Celtics and the Bucks. I did watch it for about 2.5 quarters. It was a blowout. Celtics matching up very well against Milwaukee this season in previous matchups. Chris Broussard, co-host First Things First, joins us now live. Odd couple with Rob Parker as well. Okay, so tell me why. There's got to be a why, not just a what. What I saw was Boston again give Milwaukee some struggles. There's a reason why stuff happens. Tell me why Boston gives Milwaukee trouble.
Yeah, they're a tough matchup. We've seen it before in the NBA. Sometimes it's all about the matchups, and they are a tough matchup for Milwaukee. Let's first, Colin, go back to last year. And I know Chris Middleton was out in the playoffs, but they, of course, beat Milwaukee in the playoffs last year and beat them 2 out of 3 of the games that were in Milwaukee, including that Game 6 when Milwaukee could have closed the series.
Yeah.
So the home court will mean nothing for Milwaukee if these two meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, because Boston has shown themselves and the Bucks that they can win there. But why they're a tough matchup, their athleticism on the wings gives the Bucks problems. The Bucks are a great defensive team, but a lot of it is size. All right,
yes.
Brook Lopez, Giannis, Portis, Bobby Portis. But you look on the wings, outside of Drew Holiday, he's the only guy on the perimeter that can keep somebody in front of you.
Yep.
You're talking about Pat Connaughton and Grayson Allen and Joe Ingles and guys like that. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have field days against the Bucks. The 2 games that those two have played against Milwaukee this year, they blew the Bucks out. And Tatum's averaging 40 points on 65% shooting against Milwaukee. Jaylen Brown's averaging 29 on like 57% shooting. So they're a problem for Milwaukee. The Bucks got to be hoping that Philadelphia can do their business for them and take out the Celtics in the second round.
Yeah, no, it's a really great point because the data would tell you the Bucks are a great defensive team. But to your point, it's size. Brook Lopez, Portis, Giannis. You are totally right. Tatum has a field day. We just showed the clip last night. He just gets to the basket whenever he wants. So let's pivot because I think the Eastern playoffs are going to be, frankly, much more interesting than the Western Conference playoffs this year. But I do like the drama unfolding in Dallas, where yesterday their GM says, listen, Ferrari monster truck, that's Kyrie and Luka. They'll work their way out. But I kind of predicted, I said, listen, they're going to be fun, but they don't defend. You got to play defense in May and June. Let's say they don't make the playoffs. Do you think they react by moving Kyrie? What? Because they're not a playoff team. They're headed in that direction.
Right.
What do you do if they don't get in?
Well, and here's the first thing, Colin. Remember, they don't control their destiny anymore. Like, if it clicked this afternoon, right, Tim Hardaway Jr., Luka, Kyrie, Christian Wood, all of a sudden they're on the same page and they run the table and go 5-0, they still might not make the play-in because they don't play the teams that are ahead of them in the standing. So if New Orleans and OKC and the Lakers and Minnesota take care of their business, it doesn't matter what Dallas does. And that is a disaster if they miss the playoffs. As far as if they miss the play-in, what do you do going forward? The number one thing on your mind has to be keeping Luka Dončić there long term. So you want to make moves that are going to satisfy him, make him believe that you're doing the right thing. Because what you did after last year when you made the Western Conference Finals was you let 3 of your next 3 best players after Luka, Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, they're all gone. And you traded away some defensive players for offense. Kyrie, and then you brought in Christian Wood, who are great offensively, but horrible defensively. And now the Mavericks are a bottom 10 team in defense, actually even worse than that, bottom 5. So the question is, Kyrie, they could look at it like, look, we didn't have much time. Kyrie didn't give us any problems off the court. He got along with his teammates. That's what I'm hearing. He got along with his teammates. We didn't have enough time. There were injuries. He and Luka missed games. And they might want to bring him back on a 1, maybe 2-year deal with a team option for the second year. Because if you give him too much, security, who
boy.
knows what he might do.
Right.
But I think the only reason you do that, Colin, is because you lost Jalen for nothing. You don't want to, couple that with losing Kyrie for nothing. And you might just sign him as a trade chip. The problem is who's trading for him. So I got to be honest. If I were them, I probably wouldn't bring back Kyrie. Probably. I'd study it closely. But he just, in Boston, they got better. They were better without him, right? And look at what they've become since he left. Brooklyn, we know, was a disaster. And now they were, I believe, a 4 seed when Kyrie got there. And now they're 11th. And it's not all his fault, but you can't ignore the coincidence that Kyrie just hasn't been able to win anything, sustain any winning without LeBron James.
So I was in a discussion last night that sometimes you just get bad breaks. And Kevin Durant, you can argue, between Westbrook and Kyrie Irving and Steph, played with 2 of the most difficult guards ever and one of the greatest to play with in Steph. Now, he did choose Brooklyn. So I was thinking about KD this morning. Right. Take centers out. I think he's one of the 12 best basketball players, KD, I've ever seen. Take centers out, which is sort of a DNA advantage, right? I don't know what to do with Shaq, Kareem, Russell, whatever. And I was saying to J-Mac is that I think his legacy is cemented. Whereas Michael is basically, and Michael came before Kobe, but Michael's a better version of Kobe, and we know how great Kobe was, is that KD's a better version of Dirk, and we know how great Dirk was. He's been to, 2 final MVPs and 2 titles. I think KD's legacy is cemented for life. One of the great shot makers ever, could take over a finals more than once, a better version of Dirk Nowitzki, who's a top 20 player arguably ever. J-Mac argues a win in Phoenix, it's more his team feels different. You tell me, they win 1 title in Phoenix with KD this year. Do you view him differently?
That's a great question. First, I do agree with your take on him being a better version of Dirk Nowitzki. Right now, he is. You said it, take out centers, he's top 12, top 15-ish overall, top 20, something like that. But I do think he can get better. And I tend to agree with J-Mac. If they were to win this title, because we know Phoenix wasn't going to win the championship without Kevin Durant. And if he goes there and with 10 games of experience with these guys in the regular season and they run the table and win the championship, I think if they win the West, it's impressive. It wouldn't be enough to change his legacy. But if they were to win the championship, then I do think he moves up a notch, in people's eyes. Look, we've heard Clyde Frazier, the all-time great guard for the Knicks, say there's an asterisk by KD's championships. We've obviously heard Charles Barkley talk about him not being a bus driver. So a lot of great players of the past do have mental asterisks by Kevin Durant's name, as great as he is.
Right.
It's like, but could he lead a team? Lead a team, not be the best player like he was in Golden State, but lead a team, his own team, to a championship. And if he were to do this in Phoenix, I do think it would remove, Colin, the but.
Yeah.
Because there is a but with KD. All the things you said are correct. Top this, top that, best this, best that. But, and that's what's there. And look, we could talk about him playing with Westbrook and that was bad luck, but that was a really good team. They beat Tim Duncan and the Spurs in the playoffs. And they had the Warriors down. Let's not forget it. They had the Warriors down 73 wins, 3-1 with Westbrook. And KD and Russ both struggled in those last 3 games. So he had his chances. Them and Cleveland would have been a great matchup in the 2016 finals. So he had his chances as a leader of his own team. Obviously, Brooklyn, you had all types of mess going on. But he's had chances. So this would be huge for his legacy, Colin, if he could get this done. I do think it would improve it.
Chris Broussard, first things first, after our show. Good seeing you, buddy. Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.